Hey everyone, I finally got a chance to play the HUDEF Viva Pro. And I gotta tell you what, these paddles are pretty impressive. Wanna hear about it? Stay tuned. HUDEF has been around for a while. The previous models, they were not the greatest models. They had good cores, but they didn't have good faces. They didn't have any spin. This is their first attempt at the raw carbon fiber. So let me give you a few of the specs so we can just get that out of the way. These paddles come in 7.8 to 8.3 ounces for the 14 and the 16. It has the T700 raw carbon fiber face. You can take a look at the picture here to see the microscope so you can just see it up close and see how good the grit looks. It is 16.5 by 7.4 height and width, 5.5 inch handle, and a 4.18 inch circumference handle, which I find pretty impressive is that the handles are pretty identical, even though it's a 14 versus a 16 millimeter paddle. So they've done a good job with the thinning of the grip on the 16 millimeter. Even though it's 5.5 inch handle, it has all of this neck link. So a lot of these paddle manufacturers are realizing that if they do a thinner neck area here, it still keeps the paddle stiff, but it gives enough room for the TUI. So with a 5.5 inch handle, this thing is extremely comfortable for a two-handed backhand. Let's talk a little bit about the design of this paddle. This is thermoformed, but it's not unibody. Okay, so this is what I would call a true hybrid paddle. This paddle has foam around the edges and has thermoform hot pressed edge sealed here, but it does not go all the way through the handle. So what this does is it gives us a little bit of a unique feel. This feels like just a straight up polypropylene core, non-thermoformed unibody paddle. It is kinda, but it isn't, right? It is partially thermoformed unibody, right? All the parts that matter here. They got foam around the edges, they've got sealed carbon edges up here. So this part is sealed, but then it doesn't go all the way through the handle. So what does this do for us? You know, one of the things about the pickleball paddles, when the ball hits the paddle, there's always, you know, typically a little flex in the paddle, a little bit of move in the paddle. And the polypropylene core paddle had a little bit more flex. So then when they went to the 16 millimeter core, the paddle wouldn't flex anymore, and so there would be no springboard effect. And the plow through became real soft, right? So 16 millimeter paddles became softer and they were more control paddles, not power paddles. So then when the unibodies came out, they gave a little bit more stiffness and speed to the thicker paddles, right? So you can then put the ball away with a thermoform paddle with the unibody construction, right? Because you can put the ball away, and the whole question about those paddles is, are they controllable? Because this is a hybrid, this has a super nice feel. I don't say this typically for a $99 paddle, but these paddles are only $99. And we also get a discount on that. So you can look in the description below, you can get a discount on this paddle. This paddle plays amazing. I found that any shot I wanted to hit with this paddle, so let's start at the kitchen. In the kitchen line and the dink battles, I could put the ball anywhere I wanted. I really felt like the ball would stay on the paddle, so it felt like it had good dwell time. And because it's not such a stiff paddle, it has a very muted feel. So you can feel where the ball's hitting on the paddle, but it's much more muted feeling than a thermoformed paddle with the unibody construction. So you can feel it, you can feel where the ball's hitting, but it's not unpleasant. It's kind of more muted like the polypropylene core paddles. So it has a really good feel. And when the ball just sits on the face, so in the dink battles, I really felt like the ball just could sit on the face, and I felt like anything I wanted to do with the ball I could. So I could take it out of the air, I could cut it short, I could put topspin on it, I could put side spin on it, all from the dink battles. Let's back up a little bit. So resets from the kitchen line on powerful shots, or resets from no man's land. I could maneuver this paddle well. All I had to do was get the paddle in the right spot, and really no matter where I hit on this, it would still have good response, just like most paddles. The sweet spot on these are pretty big, but all paddles, when you hit out here on the edge, the reality is that what is the paddle going to respond like when I hit off-center shots? Is it going to be a shank? Is it going to be a clunker? Is it going to not go where I want it to go? What I found with these paddles is it has a very comparable sweet spot, and I think that's because also the feel of it, because of the not unibody all the way through the handle, it feels really solid when you're blocking or when you're touching the ball. So I really found that I actually went to the 14 millimeter instead of the 16 millimeter because I wanted a little bit extra pop to put the ball away, but they both felt really good. And so the core on this paddle is really solid. So resets from no man's land, resets from there, no problem. Third shot drops, no problem. Like you could hit third shot drops, I could carve it, I could spin it, I could just partially do a drop, like a 3/4 drop. I felt like the control in this paddle was there. And then the drives, it's not a power paddle. These are control paddles. The 14 millimeter is a little bit more powerful than the 16 millimeter. I found myself playing with a 14 millimeter, and I'm a control paddle guy. So that tells you that the core is so solid that I felt comfortable playing with a 14 millimeter, because I typically don't. 14 millimeters typically get a little too poppy for me because I'm not the greatest with my grip pressure. I'm not an ex-tennis guy, so I'm not the greatest at dealing with some of these things, and so I have to have certain things that help me, and a paddle that is a control paddle really helps me because I don't need any help for power. I have plenty of put away power. I don't need help from the paddle. So this is the type of paddle for you if, one, you want to get into this game and you don't want to spend $300 on a paddle. This paddle's only $99. The owners of HUDEF really warranty their products. They got a good warranty, and if you have any problems with your paddles, they would definitely replace it. I have no problems, but I tell you what, if you had not told me the price, I had to go look it up because I didn't believe it when I heard the price, because I thought this was a $200 paddle. So this is a paddle that feels like a $200-some paddle. It's a $99 paddle. So I really think that this is a good buy. Great job, HUDEF. I can't wait to see the next one, which is the Pro 2 series. They're sending me that one now. Thank you, HUDEF, for sending us these paddles to review so we could give our feedback. And we're giving this feedback to you guys because we want to help you make informed decisions on buying paddles. And you know, every purchase that you use our code for, that just supports our channel and allows us to bring you this great content. So thank you so much for supporting us. And if you want to get the description below, look in the description below, you can get the discount codes. And if you really want a different type of paddle and you're just looking for something different, check these out.